Hey, I'm Brad, and I am a time freedom consultant. Show businesses and entrepreneurs and people how to get half your time back so you can focus on what really matters. So, what I do is I take real world examples from clients and ongoing times in life, as well as have an open Q&A, just anything I can do to bring value in managing your life. Because my experience of the world is over 80 to 90% of people are super overwhelmed and they are time strapped. And I believe that we are here to do what you love with the people that you love as much as possible. And whatever I can do to take my 25 years entrepreneurial experience and having companies ranked in the top productivity by employee for over 13 years, as well as having time freedom, at least 3 to 6 months off every year for 15 years. And people hire me to come in and I show people how to normally save up half their time and eliminate the overwhelm in under 4 weeks. Well, what is the perfect timing about this on October 4th is we are at the quarter end. And not only are you at the end of the quarter, you're also at the beginning of a new quarter. So my goal in this is to say, well, hey, how do you review everything? Like, not just how can this apply to your business or your team or your job or your life? Like, how do you literally learn to have a leak proof system so that nothing falls through the cracks, so that you are always in control? And this is the perfect time because it's an interquarter review and it's not just managing things by the day. You can actually take a big step back and see exactly not only where you're at, and more importantly, a review process and actually where do you want to go. So in business, as you can imagine, a lot of people are only running their financials, but there's a lot of other things to manage. So I'm actually going to use a personal real world example on how it applies to personal life and also tying that into business. So first of all, you got to get clear on all the areas of life that matter to you, the same way in the business. So let me show you just stages and how I manage it. So let me make sure this is showing up on the screen. Okay, cool. So in personal life, I'm going to pull up my Q3. So here's the areas that I like to manage, and you can come up with your own categories. I got my body. I think this is like the most important thing we need to manage, like looking across every single part of it, like literally looking at your body head to toe. Your emotional well-being, emotions, your money, financial freedom. Entrepreneurship's a big one for me. Relationships, I normally put these into 3 different areas. I got my family, I got my tribe, and I got my sex, dating, romance life that's there. I also look at my time freedom. I measure that consistently because time is our only precious asset. I also look at the home. I look at how's my fun and adventure, how's my spiritual well-being, how is my self-actualization, the continuous and never-ending improvement in Brad, and contribution and giving back. So what you can do in first one of those is write out your areas. It only takes you 2 minutes to do it, right? It takes you 2 minutes to set the areas of your life that matter to you. And in business, let me pull up the business ones just as your example. Hey, in business, you got your key areas. It'll take you 2 minutes to write it out. You got your marketing, you got your sales, you got your product service, you got your operations, you got your customer service. And there's probably a few other areas, right? So step 1, get super clear on your areas. That's what matters most. Now, let me pull up my notes here. Okay. Point 1, know all your categories. Point 2, assess it objectively. So, on a scale from 1 to 10, how are you doing? Don't think about it. Don't overanalyze it. Just saying, hey, how are you doing? So in some areas, you might have maybe your time freedom is like a 6 out of 10, 10 being the best. Maybe your home's a 2. Maybe your body's a 1. But to get clear on those areas, so at least you can have a starting point, because the big part of what matters here is what doesn't get measured doesn't get managed, right? Thinking about it even with your body and your weight or your financials or your relationships, what doesn't get measured doesn't get managed. And by you putting a number to it and making the choice to actually measure it on an assessment scale, boom, you're there. So everything's going to be on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. And so the next part is going through an assessment process of what's working and what's not working. So I learned this from a friend when we were running a business accelerator, and it's the feedback loop. So Now that you have something on a scale from 1 to 10, let's call it like my body. So I'm looking at my bodies right now as an 8 out of a 10. The first thing is what is working. And under what is working, use, stop, continue, start. I mean, I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to continue doing this, and I'm going to start doing this. What are the new ideas? For example, maybe I'm going to stop eating after 8 p.m. so that I can fast. I'm going to continue working out 5 days out of the week. You know what? I'm actually going to start. I'm going to join a gym for the first time. I'm going to stop eating so much gluten in the middle of the day. I'm going to continue, waking up at 6 a.m. to go to the gym. I'm actually going to start joining some yoga classes. Simply by you using stop, continue, start will support you in pulling out all of the ideas from your mind into a system that you'll be able to drive forward. Now, those are for future talks because I show you how to operate everything from vision, goals, projects, tasks to the recurring nature of business. So subscribe, follow. This is ongoing. Happy to answer any questions. And if you have any questions while I'm running through this, drop it in and I'll help you. So that's what's working. And then you start about what is not working. And normally that's such a more important part of a feedback loop, especially in terms of teams and relationships, because you can eliminate the bad. And the order of operations, you can normally eliminate the stuff that isn't working much easier in order to make room for new things. So in not working, stop. We're going to stop doing this. We're going to continue doing this, and we're going to start doing this. That's all you need in the format is. So now you got a format on a scale from 1 to 10 for all the areas, right? And now you can say, okay, what's working? We're going to continue doing this. I want to start doing this. What's not working? We're going to stop doing this. And what if we started doing this? It is an ongoing feedback loop that you're there. Boom, you're now ready. You're now ready for, running the areas of your life as well as the areas of your business, and then tying that in with the team. Now, there's something that really matters here is don't get too caught up in the numbers. So in business, there's a principle that called profit is an opinion, which is true. Profit is just an opinion. So let's say if I made zero profit, let's say I made $1 million profit. Is it good? Is it bad? It's just an opinion. What matters is your trend, right? What matters is your trend. So if my body is feeling like a 3 this quarter, but it was a 1 the prior quarter, that's actually a good thing. So once you do that and you assess where you're at, you measure the trend. Are we going this? Are we neutral? Are we going down? Are we going up? Are we the same? Or are we going down? And imagine you're in an airplane, right? So who knows if you're at like a 4, but you might be going down. Maybe you're at a 4, but you might be going up. So it's to notice the trends that really matter over anything. So when you're running your financials, it's so easy in QuickBooks to hit a button to say, okay, not do I only want to see what happened last quarter. I can hit a button and I can compare it to the same period of the prior quarter as well as the same period of the prior year. Literally, I compare Q3 compared to QT in Q2 in one sheet, as well as versus Q3 2022. Then you can actually get an assessment on all the trends that are happening. And what's awesome, numbers don't lie. Everything always adds up, especially when you're running your money and your financials. Numbers do not lie. And did you know if you don't have that set up in QuickBooks and you don't have your financial dashboards, do you have any idea how easy it is to set up? It's crazy. I've taken a few people who hired me for operational time freedom to free up a lot of their time. And I've studied accounting and cash flow since I was 14. I normally don't consult with it. I don't like it. But in under 3 hours, I showed up how to have all of her financials up in a way that she likes to see it, how it shows up in language and lines of how she wants to see it. What does it mean to her so that you can actually be in your financial cockpit? Because remember, this is your airplane. This is your world. All of this is your airplane, right? This is your airplane. You're in the cockpit. You're in the cockpit of all these areas, and you need to be able to see those dashboards. Business and money, right? The financials. Let me put that in. Right? You are in the cockpit all the time. The goal is, how do you put yourself into a cockpit to where it is super easy to manage and you can see when things are going up or down and you can make the decisions with it. It becomes super easy like that. So the point is, back to, it's the trends that matter. So if something is a 7, the question is, what is the trend? And what a great way to measure even things like a relationship, right? Think about the relationship with your significant other, the relationship with yourself. Think about the relationship with your boss or your employees. Like, not only is your financial world super important because money matters, also the emotional ROI. You got the financial ROI and you got the emotional ROI. And y'all get to come up with the areas which you consider to have a great emotional ROI. So, for example, what gives me a great emotional ROI? Feeling great about my body, like feeling good when I look in the mirror, feeling energy and powerful. Like, how is my mindset? How are my relationships? Like, those are huge emotional ROIs. And what's there? How's my time freedom? How's that emotional ROI? So to really look at those key categories to really bring it to it. And then so once you're done with that, you get to use the same level of categories to say, what are my new categories for the upcoming category? What are my new goals for the upcoming quarter given these categories? And this is where people actually really enjoy doing it, because when you get to go mind map and you're out on a big whiteboards and everything, your mind just starts to flow. That's because the mind is a tangent. It normally wants to be very creative, and we can get it out and you start to see everything and you let it expand. That's where the fun work is done. And then the next part of that work is knowing how to bring it into simple systems so that it starts to track itself, so you can actually focus on what matters. So I'm going to sum all of this up in a quick thing. And for ongoing, hey, if you want some ongoing free Q&A and time management and business operations consulting, you want to be able to ask anything at any given time, drop it in, subscribe and follow. I'll be doing these a lot. So in summary, add that to the stage. 1, know your categories. 2, assess it on a scale from 1 to 10. 3, what is working? Stop doing this, continue doing this, start doing this. 4, what is not working? Stop doing this, continue doing this, starting doing this. What matters? It's the trends that matter and where you're going. Then you get to brainstorm on those. Now that you can see all those things that are there, your mind will start to unfold. These are the things that we need to reassess on. Then you go through the same categories, you do the new goals. And what's great about sitting with those goals is you're thinking about the why. Like, why does this stuff matter to you? Why does business financials matter to you? Why does time freedom matter to you? Why does having great emotional health matter to you? Why does the relationships with your employees or your boss or your relationships matter to you? When you think about the why, notice the emotional driver that starts to happen, and notice how fast you're going to start thinking about these things. Then you could drop these into systematically and you drive it forward. And this is where it's easy to manage people. You set yourself up a simple system where you got a calendar, a project management tool, and a playbook to manage the recurring nature of it. Game over. Game over. Cut half your time, eliminate the overwhelm, and keep it together. And you want to be able to run multiple companies and multiple areas of life like this. This is your game. So I hope this is supported. Hope this add value. And once again, I'm going to be doing a lot of lives where you can come in and ask anything at any given time. So drop a subscribe or follow, and we can go from there. There's Courtney Rose. Talk to y'all soon.